What is going on, AADA Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central. My name is Fareed and I'm your host here. And in today's video, as always, I want to break down some of the latest developments within the Cardano network. First things first, I want to touch on the Cardano token, or ADA's, price performance given the start of 2023 and how that compares to other networks within the blockchain and crypto space. Second, I want to touch on a touchy topic here, which has raised a lot of eyebrows, which has been the release of the Ledger Recover feature. Now, there's going to be one particular project within the NFT space here building on Cardano that has recently chosen to partner with Ledger, but that has now been put on hold. And then I want to touch on the fact that the Ledger team is now trying to get in touch with the community with an upcoming Twitter space. Following that, I want to touch on a brief update released by AnetaBTC regarding their revenue sharing model, as well as World Mobile that continues to deploy more and more air nodes within the Zanzibar region. As a part of the close for today's video, I want to touch on AADA Finance, which continues to break its own records in terms of TVL, as well as VyFi breaking over 3 million ADA in terms of TVL on the network, given the fact that they just released on the mainnet no more than a week ago. That said, at the very end of this video, I want to touch on MAYZ protocol and their brand new website, which has been released to the public. Now, before we jump into all of that Cardano goodness, if it's your first time stopping by the channel, my goal here is to provide you guys in the community with the latest news, tutorials, and reviews. If you guys would like to support me here on my mission to educate the broader Cardano community, then consider delegating with the official Dapp Central stake pool, which is stake pool ticker DAPP. Your contributions do make a difference, and I appreciate you guys for supporting me here on the channel. Jumping into the very first topic here for today, I want to touch on the layer 1 year-to-date performance across the top 10 blockchains. So I'm going to get myself out of the way here so you guys can see the full list in its entirety. But coming in at number 1, we've got Solana, which is up 104% since the new year. At number 2, we've got Phantom, which is up 84% since the new year. And then coming in at number 3, we've got our beloved Cardano, which is now up over 50%. So we're coming in at number 3, which isn't necessarily too bad. But if you compare this and take into account that we saw a huge sell-off when it comes to Solana, given the fact that the FTX collapse happened right before the beginning of the new year, as well as Phantom seeing their own issues when it comes to developers leaving the network. Those are cryptos that were down a lot harder than Cardano was. Therefore, they somewhat rebounded a little bit better here as well, given the fact that beginning at the new year, a lot of the crypto space kind of just started pumping. So I do personally believe that if we had not seen the crash of FTX and some of the developer issues that we saw within the Phantom network, that Cardano could potentially be at number 1 in terms of the year-to-date performance. Now, right behind Cardano, we do have Ethereum. And so again, I think they would be relatively close either way, coming in with about 50% gain since the beginning of the new year. At number 5, we've got Avalanche, number 6, Near, number 7, Tron, number 8, Binance, followed by Ethereum Classic, Polygon, Cello, and Algorand. I believe that is going to do it there for that very first update. The next thing I want to touch on is going to be Ledger. Now, Late Game Crypto Josh and I just did a video touching on this. If you guys want to hear our thoughts, make sure to check out that particular Cardano consensus video, in which we've got about a 10 to 15 minute block where we touch on the impacts and exactly what Ledger has recently done. Now, as a brief recap, if you somehow missed this particular story here, this was quite a big one, and this was surrounding a brand new feature called Ledger Recover, which allows for people who are using their Ledger Nano X to apply a brand new software update that will allow for them to opt into a service that therefore allows for them to have their recovery phrase sharded, right, and basically spread out amongst 3 different providers. And if they lose their recovery phrase, they'll be able to recover it using this Ledger Recover feature. Now, I heard, and I'm not sure how accurate this is, that they were planning on actually charging people for this service. I'm not sure if that is going to be the case. But what I want to touch on is actually going to be a NFT project here within Cardano that had recently actually planned a collaboration with the Ledger platform, but they've now chosen to postpone it due to the Ledger Recover news and how the community has actually received this particular bit of news as well. So this is going to be the Clay Nation team. If you guys don't know Clay Nation, I'd be highly surprised. They are one of the first NFT collections that has launched on Cardano, and they're actually going to be one of the most traded NFT collections as well. But this was actually posted here on May 15th, and this is from the official Ledger account. So it says, for our next custom Nano collab, we're doing it the Clay way. Coming soon, and they added Champ Medici, or Snoop Dogg's son. Now, he's got a very close relationship with the Claymates, or the Clay Nation team, and so does his father, Snoop Dogg. But here we were getting a glimpse of exactly what was to come, which was going to be a customized Ledger Nano collaboration with Ledger. Now, this is not going to be the first collaboration that they've done with the Ledger Nanos. They actually do quite a bit of them, but I believe that this would have been the first one being done on Cardano or using a Cardano-centric project. So this would have been a huge announcement here. However, given the fact that the Ledger Recover feature was announced no more than a day or two after this particular announcement came, we did see an updated tweet from the actual Clay Nation team. So it states here, we wanted to share a brief update on our planned partnership and campaign with Ledger. So this was posted, let's see here, about 2 days after their Ledger announcement was made. And it states here that we've decided to postpone the launch, which was planned for today. So really unfortunate timing. However, they haven't actually said that they're backing out fully of the actual partnership, that they're just postponing it. So I think what a lot of people are thinking, at least for the time being, is that because of the backlash, Ledger may walk this back. And if they do, we may see this particular partnership follow through. However, I'll be keeping you guys posted as we get more information here from the Clay Nation team. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and actually read all of these tweets here. It is a 5-tweet thread, but I'll just kind of touch on the first two. So it reads, this is a tough call, especially considering the months of hard work we invested in creating awesome content and collaborating with their team on educational incentives. We're still so proud of our partnership news and firmly believe in the paramount importance of security when it comes to safeguarding our digital assets. We believe it's important to wait for further clarification and to gather our thoughts and to gauge the community sentiment before moving forward. In closing, your opinions matter to us, and we want to ensure that this partnership aligns with your expectations. So I did actually read all 5 of them there. It didn't take that long. But I really like to hear the fact that the Clay Nation team is not rushing into this. Obviously, this would give them a lot of eyeballs, and this would be probably a big way for them to earn more revenue, collaborating with such a big brand name such as Ledger. But it looks like they're not necessarily focusing on that, and they're really trying to hear the community out. So they're postponing this here, which is unfortunate. However, I do think it's the right thing to do right now with so much heat coming to Ledger. Now, if I move over into this next tab here, this is again from the official Ledger platform. So it says here, Ledger community. We've heard your feedback on Ledger Recover, and we want to share an update and discuss the top items we've heard so far. So in order to do that, they're going to be holding a town hall with their leadership team, which they list there below, on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to definitely be tuning in here. I recommend you guys go ahead and tune in as well if you hold a Ledger, to see exactly what they're going to be doing. Now, I think they've got a few different options, but the bridges may have already been burnt in a sense, because this kind of shows where Ledger, or the extent of which Ledger is willing to go. Now, if they were to walk this back, I do think that some members within the community would support them, but I think that there's just been a lot of damage already done. So aside from walking it back, if they were to try to somehow explain this or justify this behavior or this action here, it may just drive more resentment towards them. As a part of my latest video, there were so many great comments. And again, I want to thank you guys for tuning into that particular video where I chatted with LGC Josh about this particular matter. And so one of the biggest comments that stood out to me was the fact that Ledger does not use open source code. So people were kind of worried about the fact that even if they do walk this back, we don't know, whether it's going to be fully walked back and what kind of damage has already been done. So I think there's a lot of people recommending right now, if you don't want to interact at all with Ledger in terms of updating your software, then it's probably the best thing to do. However, if you do go ahead and upgrade, you may either have to revert, or there may be some other changes coming down the pipeline that we're just not aware of yet. So again, I'm going to be keeping my eye out for this particular Twitter space. I'm not sure what to expect, but we will see exactly how the Ledger team tries to remedy their past action. That's going to do it there though for updates surrounding Ledger. The next topic I want to jump into is going to be surrounding AnetaBTC. Now, they just got done wrapping up their testnet, and I want to highlight some of their revenue utility. So AnetaBTC, for those of you who aren't aware, is going to be a platform that allows you to wrap Bitcoin using a bridge developed by the AnetaBTC team, and then basically mint an equivalent token, which is going to be called CBTC, which represents the locked or bridge asset, which in this case is Bitcoin. Now, not only can you go ahead and bridge from the Bitcoin network over into Cardano, you can also do the opposite, or unwrap your tokens once you're done, which is basically moving them from Cardano back over to the Bitcoin network. As you do that, they're going to be charging a 1% fee on the total amount transferred, and that 1% will be used in the following way. So 25% of that will go towards purchasing or converting it to CNETA. An additional 25% will go towards being converted towards CBTC, and then an additional 50%, or the remaining 50%, will be converted to ADA. So number one, supporting the CNETA token, which is going to be the native governance token for AnetaBTC. Number two, actually purchasing CBTC, and then number three, ADA. Now, those tokens will be added into liquidity pools, therefore driving the adoption of those tokens and facilitating easier trades in and out of CBTC and CNETA. So just one bit of stream of utility here when it comes to how this platform is planning on using their revenue being generated by the platform. So just a brief update there that I wanted to touch on when it comes to AnetaBTC. I've got another quick update here surrounding World Mobile. So let's jump back into this particular update here. And what I want to touch on is going to be the fact that the World Mobile team has now deployed an additional 9 air nodes, bringing their total deployed number of air nodes to 318. Now, this team continues to roll out within the Paje and Nungwe regions, which Paje is going to be right here on the East Coast. And then we've got Nungwe, which is going to be on the North Coast here. Now, both of these areas are going to be more touristy areas, which the team has talked about in terms of adoption and growth, and also just a newer area to kind of see exactly how their air node model is actually going to work. So far things look like they're working out quite well. And as we can see, the total number of air nodes is now currently sitting at 318. We've got over 440 gigs being consumed over the last 24 hours, with about 16,000 unique users tapping into the platform over the course of the last 24 hours as well. In closing here, we've got an uptime of about 382 days, which this team is now closing in on a year, or excuse me, they've actually crossed over a year now in terms of uptime. So congratulations to this team. Their network is showing to be resilient as we've now passed that huge milestone. I believe that is going to do it there for the brief update on World Mobile. Next, I want to jump into AADA Finance, and the rest of these updates are going to be quite quick. So let me share my screen with you guys again, and this one is going to be surrounding AADA Finance and their ever-growing TVL. So only 18 days ago, the team celebrated reaching 8 million ADA in terms of TVL, and today they're thrilled to share that they've now surpassed 10 million ADA in terms of TVL. So this platform continues to grow. There's now speculation that we can expect for the P2P testnet, or excuse me, the peer-to-pool testnet to come online within the next 14 days. And keep in mind that this is going to be in addition to the peer-to-peer. So we're going to have both of these platforms live, and they just continue to grow. They just had an additional governance vote surrounding the addition of SNEC into their platform, which is going to be a pretty well-known meme coin now within the space. And I personally believe that that will pass. So I'll keep you guys updated when it comes to that. Now, if I jump over into DeFi Llama, I want to touch on the fact that Cardano TVL is doing quite well. If we take a look in terms of ADA, we're seeing that, we're just continuing to go up and to the right. As you guys may recall, I touched on the fact that we broke past our all-time high that we set back in March of 2022 when the bear market really kind of kicked off. And we're now all the way up until, around about 422 million ADA in terms of TVL. Now, focusing on AADA Finance, they're now climbing the ranks. And as we can see here, they now have, in the last 30 days alone, over 50% in terms of TVL. So this platform continues to grow. Over the last 7 days alone, a gain of 39%. And there is nobody anywhere near close to this platform aside from Lending Pond. However, their total TVL right now in terms of USD is about a tenth, actually a little bit less than that, of what AADA Finance has. So AADA really proving themselves right now, and their token price action is also reflecting some positive growth there. So shout out to all those people holding AADA token and spreading the word about exactly what they're bringing to the network. Now I've got two stories I want to touch on here. Again, very brief for today's Cardano Scoop. And the next one is going to be surrounding VyFi Finance. Now, VyFi Finance just came online on the mainnet on May 15th. I just had an amazing interview with Stephen Ward where we touched on the DEX, their bar, their L2LP, and their farming, which is going to be coming online very soon. I believe that'll be coming online on the 29th. But those other three features, which include the DEX bar and L2LP, are now currently live. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, you can go ahead and do so. And again, check out that recent interview that I just did with Stephen, where we break down exactly how all of this ties into the ever-growing VyFi ecosystem. And so my update here is a pretty brief one. The fact that they now have crossed over 3 million ADA in terms of TVL. I did release a video touching on the fact that the bar and everything else was live about 12 hours after the DEX went live. And at that point, they had about a 500,000 ADA in terms of TVL. So that has now 6x'd since, and that's only been about a week. So I do believe that this particular platform will continue to grow, very similar to what we're seeing with AADA Finance, as more people begin to understand exactly what features are available and what it's bringing to the network. I believe that that's going to be it there for that particular update. The very last update I want to touch on is going to be surrounding the MAYZ protocol and the fact that they now have a brand new website. Now, MAYZ, I actually just mentioned before in a prior video that they were going to be partnering with TX Pipe as well as MuesliSwap in terms of providing liquidity once their ISPO wraps up. But if you're not familiar with them, they're going to be a platform that allows you to create, manage, and invest in Cardano specific funds. So imagine this as a platform that allows you to invest in multiple tokens, similar to what we have with traditional finance with index funds, right? Which is basically just a group or a basket of funds. Now, in terms of other protocols that are going to be very similar to this, we are also expecting Matera to provide a very similar platform. So MAYZ right now is currently undergoing their ISPO. If you guys want to find out more about that, I'll leave the link to it in the description. And they're going to be, I believe, launching a testnet around the time of August. So once that particular testnet comes out, I'm going to go ahead and actually see what and how we can create some of these funds and exactly how you guys in the community can begin to leverage these in order to get more price exposure to multiple assets. In terms of partners, as I mentioned before, they're going to be partnering up with MuesliSwap, Osmium DAO, Rats DAO, and Transaction Pipe Tools. I believe that that is going to take us through today's video. Again, I kind of sped up there towards the end, but I wanted to keep this as brief and concise as possible. But we touched on quite a bit. We first started off by talking about Cardano and our yearly price performance. Second, we touched on Ledger. Third, we touched on AnetaBTC, followed by World Mobile, and then AADA Finance, VyFi, and the MAYZ protocol. That is going to do it here for today's Cardano Scoop. If you guys found this video to be helpful or insightful in any way, shape, or form, I would really appreciate it if you guys could tap that like button. If it's your first time stopping by the channel and you want more content like this, consider subscribing. And if you guys have any questions for me surrounding any of these protocols that we touched on today, then please make sure to leave a comment down below. That said, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.